Well, that didn't work. What the hell? Anyway, my whole freaking thing just like crapped itself trying to make that transition. But whatever. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, worshippers of all ages, you can totally tell I wasn't here yesterday. Welcome to King of the Sea Day 4. Zath, buddy, I missed you yesterday, man. How you doing today?
I miss you too, man. I'm doing fine, thanks.
I can see, I'm looking over at my OBS and Zath is just sitting there like waiting for me to open my mouth, and I'm looking at my OBS while it like craps itself. Like, video ended, black screen. Oh, we'll start the trailer now. We'll start the transition now. I'm like, what is it? Never mind, I'll fix it later, right? Like, oh my God.
It literally flashed gray for a second, and I'm like, I don't think it's supposed to do that.
Yeah. No, it wasn't. No, it wasn't. But we're still here. We're all fine here now. We're all fine here now. Thank you. How are you? So anyways, how are you? How are you, Zath? How you doing, man? You guys had a busy day yesterday.
Oh my God, so busy. We got 8 games in, just like we always do. But I'll tell you what was so funny about that was Oskens and Golfman are used to getting 5 in during a normal day, so I'm like dragging them along, like, you know. They leave a little bit of time between battles to talk about the games and stuff, which, hey, that's how they said it. Nothing wrong with that. But you and I, we're all about the games, as you know, so that's right.
Slam them out, baby. That's our motto around here. Slam them out. And, you know, it's funny because I had a couple people this week, like, ping me on you know, Discord or you know, come into the channel or whatever, and they'd be like, so how do you guys, like, what criteria do you use for picking games? And I basically told them, I said, for day 1 and day 2, it's literally this simple. We look at the schedule. The games were scheduled this time, right? And, you know, every 5 minutes, a new group was starting. And I said, Zath and I sat down and went through the schedule and said, all right, there's 5 rounds that are staggered every 5 minutes. What's the optimal schedule for us to cram in as many possible games as we can? And that's the schedule we were picking. And that's what we did. And even on both days, we still managed to sneak in an extra game, at least one. So...
Yeah,
we did okay, man. We did okay.
We did fine. And you know what? We like to pick aggressive schedules, guys, because we know you don't like dead time. You don't like sitting here watching us talk forever. So, you know, let's watch something. Let's look at something. So you're going to see that today too, guys, because we have best of 3s coming up. If we go 2-0, we're going to find a game 3. If we've got if the game we're scheduled for is delayed by like 10 minutes or more, we might go try to find another match instead. Like, so just hold on to your butts, guys, because we're going to race through the playoffs today.
At the end of the day, guys, our goal is to cast as much as we possibly can. Downtime pisses us off as much as it pisses you off. You're here to watch games. We're here to cast games. When there are no games, that makes us angry and you angry. We don't want that. So we do our best to try to fill those gaps with games as quickly as possible. Sometimes in previous years, if longtime viewers know, sometimes that doesn't always work out so well for everyone. But we do try. So anyways, guys, today's schedule is going to start with a B in Civil War, Zath. We're starting with the B in Civil War today.
That's correct. Hey, before we get into that, should we fill everybody in and yourself on what happened yesterday?
Sure, bring it on, man. Let's talk about it.
So here's our results from yesterday. And now Raptor came home last night from a very busy day. I'm sitting on voice call with him, and he's like, "Oh my God, GGWP didn't make it." You know, and interesting. You know, and all this other talk about these different other groups, and I had the wrong screen up. Come on, there we go.
That's okay. That's okay.
So, like, you know, it was fun to look at. So yeah, GGWP out. We're used to seeing them moving on in the tournament. They're gone. Who else was it that you were so surprised to see? Star Brazil, right?
Star Brazil not making the top 16 was a real shocker to me, Zath. We've watched those guys progress over several events now. They've gotten really good. I think the last 2 to 3 tournaments, they've been kind of a regular in the top cut, let's say. And them not even making it to day 4, to me, like, that's a huge disappointment. And I look at those guys and I'd be like, I mean, they won 3 games yesterday. But in the particular group they were in, that wasn't quite enough. They lost on tie breaks, and that feels bad. They're not in day 4. They're out of the event. So I look at that and I go, man, that's, to me, I look at that and think, man, that's a bit of an upset. I mean, let's be honest here, you know? So anyways, let's see who else kind of didn't make it that I look at and I go, what happened there? I'm a little surprised to see, of course, we talked about GWP being on the sidelines. That's a bit of a surprise. I'm a little surprised to see Salsa on the sidelines. Yesterday they won 3 games. We saw them fight several teams like to the very last minutes of a game on day 2. And I was like, man, I bet these guys are good enough to sneak by, you know, in like a second or a third place bracket. Didn't quite make it. They lost. They were fourth again in Group D on tie breaks.
Right.
I'm looking here, trying to see what else. Who else kind of surprised me? I tell you who did surprise me that did make it, Zach. One of the surprising,
Yeah.
like, oh, they made it. The
Yeah.
SCV guys. The SCV guys made it to this cut. And okay, and we talked a little bit about that. Just, you know, we saw them on day one. They didn't look amazing, right? But like
No.
apparently they played well enough to get to this level of the event. And then you know, here we are. So like it's definitely some interesting things went on yesterday, to put it lightly.
Right. Yeah, it was
What else
very,
did you see? Like,
it's very interesting. So what we saw yesterday was some crazy battles. QCN, you were also talking about. Oh my God, they not only did they come in today, but they're also finishing first in their group, which was pretty awesome. The Nigerian princess needing everybody's help yesterday, didn't get
everyone's
enough.
help, yeah.
So that was interesting as well. TNG looked really strong in the battles that we covered. You know, so there was this huge feeling like we're seeing some very competitive games, and I think what's cool about this is I didn't hear of any like blowout, like, you know, this game was over in 10 seconds or less kind of a deal. So to me that was really cool to see and to hear about, and to cast yesterday. Just a lot of competitive battles, some mistakes to be sure, but you know,
Sure.
we always talk about this. After the first day or so, people are watching highlight reels, or watching the games that have been cast, they're thinking back to their own battles, and they're trying to find ways to kind of grow and improve, and they're doing their research, and then they come out yesterday swinging. Yesterday we saw ship bans, and you know, we saw Ragnar banned a bunch, we saw Venezia banned, Moskva was banned a few times. I didn't really see any battleships banned. A lot of destroyers, though. And in one case, brilliant decision in the last battle that we covered, TNG banning the Z-52 and preventing, believe it was Star, from using. Yeah, it was Star, and that's what knocked him out. They prevent.
What map was that, Zath?
Do
you remember what map it was?
Was that? That was. It's the one with B cap in the middle. Crescent Alpha? No, I always.
What B cap in the middle? They all have B cap in the middle, Zaf.
Well, okay. It was Northern Waters. I always mess up Northern Waters and Crescent
There we
Alpha.
go. Okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense, because we watched, I think it was it Star? I think it was Star, and their Z-52 play last event, right? We commented routinely on their Z-52 play and how critical it was to some of their little strategies that Hydro. And of course, the B cap on Northern Waters, very easy to lock up with a solidly positioned Z-52 until you're able to push people down the flanks and then spot him and throw in shells from the sides of the map.
Right. So very interesting what we're going to see happening as a result. It was interesting. Star set up for that shot, and they had a V-Deuce, as you like to call it, up in the northern part because it's got Hydro, but of course it doesn't have Z-52 Hydro. And you could see how integral that was for their plans, and it was perfect. I mean, just probably the best use of a ship ban that I've seen in most of competitive. They knew their opponents, TNG
Love
did,
it.
and they used that strategy, and it was fantastic. So
I love
hats
it.
off to them for picking that.
And honestly, one of the things that I like about the ship ban system, I say, is I'm kind of setting up the ship bans and the map picks for the match we're going to cover here in a little bit.
Yeah, they put it
Those
in,
are all
I
available
see.
now, so when you're ready.
Yep.
I love that, because what it does, Zach, is it rewards you for knowing your opponent. It rewards you for doing a little bit of homework. It rewards you for either knowing them from clan battles or having friends over there and just talking with them or whatever. That little bit of research, that little bit of extra outside the game and intel, you're rewarded for that little bit of extra effort. And I like that. I'll always like that. I know there's probably people that think the ban system is a little silly in that regard, but I am a huge fan of it for expressly that reason. All right, I'm looking. I see who our room contact is, but I don't see the room up.
I don't see it up either.
In fact, right. The status board does say doesn't say they're in room yet, so we're kind of just waiting. I tell you what's that though. Is there anything else you want to talk about? Oh, hang on. One second. Chat asked a really good question.
Well, maybe my chat wants to know
Okay.
too.
Well, so they asked a question. They were like, "Where can I see the bracket?" And it was like, "That's a great question. I normally have my little chat bot will put that information out, and I forgot to turn that on before the stream started.
Mm-hmm.
So let me turn those on now. I'm
Yep.
going to turn that.
Yep.
Yeah,
And
actually, no, I'll leave that one on. Turn that one on. Go ahead.
for my viewers, I just have its exclamation point KOTS, and they can type that in anytime, and
Yeah,
that just shows that. So
I think that's what mine is as well. Let me have a check. What did I set it for? It was a timer. I set it for it's okay. Okay, so you have it. They can just ask for it.
yeah.
Okay, mine is it just comes up every so often.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. Makes
Okay,
sense.
hold on, and there it is. There we go. All right, so I finally got that all fixed up in chat. My bad, guys. Remember today we're working on a 5-minute delay. Okay, that
Mm-hmm.
means it looks like Jaime's the spreadsheet says Jaime's room is up. So let's have a check again. Remember, guys, that means that interacting with chat today for us is basically impossible. Anything you're talking about was 5 minutes ago for us, and we moved on to something else. So just keep that in mind. But yeah, I mean, I'm excited. Let's talk about being Civil War, Zath. All right, so we have our map rotations now. We know what maps we're going to be seeing for potentially for being Civil War. Now, what are we looking at? As we get into day 4, the seeded teams now enter the bracket. Okay, so the seeded teams included the main original, OG Buenos Noches.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you've been around Zath and Mai's channel for the last 3 years, you've seen these guys. We're big fans of this team. We like them. They're great people. We love casting them. I remember when they broke onto the scene back in King of the C7, they made a big splash because they were one of the first obviously South American teams that were like really good and competitive and
Right.
really kind of made everybody sit up and take notice and go, "Oh, wow, okay, we can't mess around with these guys. Like they're dead serious."
But of course, it took them a while
and
to get to that point. I mean, it wasn't like they come on just immediately like that, right? Like
Exactly. That was their first King of the Sea, but they had played in some of the training events we had run before that to kind of build up some practice and of course clan battles and that sort of thing. So
Mhm.
yeah, and so you and I in particular have been big fans of them ever since, and they have produced some of the most consistently entertaining games of King of the Sea to watch ever.
Mhm.
Right?
Mhm.
Like you go back and look through our archives on YouTube or on Twitch, and you will find Buenos Noches games that go down to the wire, and they are exciting as hell to watch, and they are fun games. These
Right.
guys love to fight. It makes them always fun to cast. So when Zath told me BN's playing BN, I was like, oh, we got to do that. We got to do that, man.
And
That's
I had
gonna
already
be a great series.
And I'd already picked it. And I hope you don't
Zath
mind.
was like, oh no, I'm way ahead of you. I already signed this up. I was like, my man, right? My man. Because
there was somebody else that wanted to grab it, but then they saw we were signed up for it, and they're like, "Damn!" By the way, I don't see that. I don't see that game up.
I don't either. I'm actually trying to figure out who the hell is the host, and it's actually irritating me a little bit because it's not the adjudicator assigned to the game, and it's not the name on the spreadsheet.
Mm-hmm.
I'm still looking.
Apparently, I have somebody telling me that I look frozen on your stream.
Oh, you do actually. This was an irritating thing that was happening on occasion with the way we have this set up. So yeah, okay, that should have fixed it now. It managed to not happen the whole time we were working the first weekend, but it's definitely something that can happen on occasion. So, all right, let's see. We've got to figure out who's hosting this game. Jaime says he has it up, but I don't see him.
It might be under special K. Nope, it is now.
No,
it just showed up. It took forever, but it
okay.
shows up now. If you search for JaymI.
Yeah, it's Jaime. Yeah,
he is the host.
There it is.
Literally just started up.
Go. Finally, whew.
I know, right? Okie dokie. So, guys, we're getting into the room. We're a little bit delayed, but it's a best of 3. So if this goes 2-0, then hey. In addition, the matches aren't probably going to go full 20 minutes each, and teams do have a 10-minute break they can request in between battles. Most of the time, though, they'll choose something closer to 2. I love it. John the Impaler has already rated up into Summers.
Game loss. You're done, sir. Ban ship. You're done.
Oh my goodness, I love the chat. We do a prediction over on here. We have Kaduzinen that runs predictions, and Cheesehead63 said, I think Buenos Noches will win this one. That's a good choice. I don't know how you came up with that idea, but oh man. Just looking into the future, he is, huh?
There you go. There you go. Yeah, no, being Civil War is going to be fun, Zach. These guys, I mean, first of all, they're just awesome people. Like you interact with these guys outside of the tournament, you see them in game, whatever. They're just fun. They're fun to talk to. They're fun to hang out with, and they're in general the quality of play is very high. And they fielded 2 teams this event, and by the vicissitudes of fate, as would have been said in V for Vendetta, here we are, and they are squaring off together. So it's going to be entertaining.
That's right.
How does Special know who to put on which team? I guess he's got a list because they all have the same clan tag. That's amazing.
Well, Special K isn't actually running the show. It's Jaime Mendoza's training room. So my guess is he knows who's on his team.
Oh, he knows how that's reasonable. He knows who's on which team. That's right. Let's talk about ship bans, Zath, as we go into we get there. The teams are kind of sorted now. We're going to be heading into game 1. So global bans for the event, of course, remain Petropavlovsk and Kleber. You guys, to this point, we're on day 4. You haven't seen these ships. You will continue to not see these ships. Starting yesterday, teams were able to ban a ship in each game. All right. Today, that continues, although the ban is for the match. So these 2 ships that these teams have picked will be banned for the entire match. That's Venezia for like old school traditional BN, and Nevsky for I don't know, new school, new BN2, let's say, right? I find it really interesting to see Venezia on the ban list here, right? We saw a lot of Venezia on the ban list. I think, was it Last King? It was Last King of the Sea. It was kind of, I'll say regular, but not abnormal, for that damage potential to like, oops, you spotted a destroyer, slap. So, but I also feel like maybe teams have kind of adapted a little better, and now here she comes again, right?
Yeah.
So, what are your thoughts on this one?
Well, all right. So, looking at the bans, first of all, both of these cruisers that have been banned, first of all, they're cruisers. Second of all, they're both kitey, flanky cruisers, which means that neither team wants to deal with the flanky BS. They want to go in, pow, 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 and fight. They don't want it,
Get your hands dirty.
Get your hands dirty. Now, that does leave, I believe, 1, maybe 2 possible kiting cruisers remaining. The super balanced Zhao. And can you take a Yoshino? I can't remember if that's on the ban list. Okay.
Yes. Pretty sure Yoshino is still available. I will check the ban list, but please continue.
So those 2 are left, but and your Church of Hindenburg, of course. So I mean, there are some kitey cruisers, but of course they don't do it as well as the Nevsky or Venezia. So we could also see a Napoli, I guess, and this speaks to what I was talking about yesterday, where there are so many ships that are out now. I almost feel like we need to be banning like 6 ships and not just 2 or 4. What's with the eye? What's with the face there, Raptor?
So, you need to go check the King of the Sea Discord. Mr. Conway has ruled on yesterday's drama, and it's not good for Fail. It's very, very bad for Fail.
Where?
So, if you go to the NA announcements channel over on the main King of the Sea Discord,
NA announcements,
you will find where Wargaming has. Okay, so let's back up and talk about what happened yesterday while we get prepped for this match.
Okay.
Yesterday, there was a player on the Fail team, and that is 007's team name this year. Okay, so 007.
Well, it's 007 and friends, because there are some people
and friends.
That are
That's
not...
right. They do. That is correct.
They do have friends, Raptor.
Friends. They do have friends.
They do have friends.
And they had friends on their team who were not wearing the 007 tag. Fair enough. But by and large, it is largely 007's entry into the event. Okay. And so they had people. They had one guy on their team who was playing with, playing in the event with his Wiki press account. Let me back up and talk about what that means. You and I are both members of the Wiki program, kind of loosely, far less involved than we used to be. But when you sign up to be a Wiki editor, you are given a press account because the expectation is you're able to play, research, see all the available ships in the game, whether you can personally afford them or not.
Right.
So Wargaming gives you a press account, right, and says, here's your press account. Everything is available on it at all times. When new ships are released, we just add them. You don't have to earn them. They're always available. They're all there, regardless. Steel, research points, whatever. Everything's there so that you can just pick it up and go play it to work on Wiki stuff. Maybe you need screenshots. Maybe you need game footage, whatever. Okay. Historically, we have been, like, when you and I joined the program all those years ago, it was made very clear to us, that was 2016, right? It was like, These are
Yeah.
not for, you can't play these in ranked. You can't play these in
Nope.
clan battles, which weren't even a thing at the time. But when clan battles came around, they basically told us, no, you can't do
Right.
that.
Right.
Over the years, that messaging apparently in the wiki program has maybe gotten a little muddled and wasn't communicated as clearly as it should have been. Okay, so there was a player on that team playing in this event with his wiki press account. All right, as opposed to his personal account.
Right.
That got flagged up as a potential problem. I guess somebody complained, and wasn't really covered in the rules. Go ahead.
The issue is that player was using a ship that player does not have on their own account. So that was the crux of the problem, was that they were using that ship that they quote unquote hadn't earned themselves. And this tournament is really, you play the ships that you have available with the captains you have available. And we commented on that last weekend. You might not have a full 21-point captain for every ship that you're taking in the KOTS, right? So that's kind of a balancing factor for the teams as well. And in a sense, that's part of why the argument is that it's unfair, because they brought a ship that they don't have themselves on their own personal account.
Right. And so here it gets even more complicated, because the player in question is an adjudicator, and the team impacted has a King of the Sea admin on it. And so rather than kind of create this impropriety, what's the word I'm looking for? Conflict of interest. There we go. They basically said, guys, we're gonna kind of recuse ourselves. We're gonna leave this to Wargaming, right? We're gonna let Mr. Conway kind of rule on this and decide. And literally just 2 or 3 minutes ago, Conway has come in with his ruling and said this particular player is not eligible for awards, and the team kind of forfeits and is out of the event. Like their games are now all basically losses for the day, more or less.
That's a second rule violation for fail, right? They used ASW in the THC game we covered, and now in the ultimate fail, they've been completely out of the tournament. By the way, they're asking if we're ready to go in our battle.
Please go ahead and let them know, and we'll talk more about this as the day goes on. We're going to have time. Because I have some thoughts that I want to share, and I'm sure you do as well. But let them know I do not want to hold these guys up. Let's get this game on the way, and we'll talk more about the mess as we get farther into this.
Perfect.
All right, guys. Excellent. Game 1 of BN Civil War, guys. We're headed to Warriors Pass.